My best stock purchases and the stories and lessons behind them. So, this is my main portfolio. You guys have seen my YouTube portfolio, which I've started in the past month. This is my long term Roth IRA portfolio, which I started a couple years ago. I want to talk about my top purchases, their gains, and the lessons I've learned because I have learned some big lessons. Even with these big gains, there's a story behind this. So, let's start with the top stock pick, Palantir. Palantir has obviously been a beast this year. It's going up like crazy. I started buying Palantir before the run up. I actually started buying it on the initial run down. I started buying around $20 to $24, and then the stock dipped all the way down to $5. So I purchased a little bit on the way down as well. And I think my average share cost was around $20 per share. So I was down quite a bit on Palantir. And it went sideways for I think like 2 years before it started going up. So when Palantir got to around $30 per share after it started going back up, I sold half of my position. So at $20 per share, it was at $30 a share. I was up 50% on that position. The reason why I sold it is because I was frustrated after holding Palantir for so many years without any gains, and I felt like that capital could have been used better elsewhere. So honestly, it was an emotional decision. It was not based on the chart fund technical I can't talk. It was not based on the chart technical analysis or the fundamentals of the company. It was simply an emotional decision because I held on to that stock for so long and I was finally profitable. So I sold half the position. Had I not sold that half of that position, this stock, which is now up 913% in my portfolio, I would have twice as many gains. It was a big position. I sold half of it. I regret selling it now in hindsight, obviously, because it's gone up so much. But at the time, it seemed like a good decision because I did deploy that capital elsewhere, which it did go up in those stocks as well, but obviously not as much as this 900% increase. So, moral of that stock story: when you buy a stock, you have to be willing to hold it through a downturn. Obviously, you try to time your purchases wisely so you're not buying at the peak, but it is quite possible that your stock holding will go down. You need to have conviction in that stock to be willing to hold it through that downturn and believe in the stock enough to hang on to it as it goes up. Now, obviously, there are times to sell and take profit, but when I sold Palantir, that was not the correct time. So that is my lessons from Palantir. Nvidia is a stock position which is now up 315%, which I have never sold a single share from Nvidia. I recently started adding in this current bull run up, but my lesson from Nvidia: once I bought all of my initial positions, I got so anchored to my low dollar per share amount that I didn't want to add during good buying opportunities. I was so anchored to that price that once it started going up, I didn't want to buy more because I felt like I shouldn't buy higher when I have such a low cost basis. But as I said, I started adding recently. I should have added sooner. So don't get anchored to a low cost basis when you're holding on to a good stock. It is okay to buy momentum, to buy bullish movement. When a stock starts going up, it's still okay to buy. You don't have to buy at the all-time low. You can add to a good position. Third stock, Tesla. I think I added a share yesterday even, or maybe the day before. Tesla, same situation as Palantir. I started buying, stock went down. I held through the downturn. Once I started getting profitable, I sold some shares for a little bit of profit. I should have hung on to those shares because those shares that I sold, the cost basis was around 250 to 300. Tesla is now at like 460. So I should have hung on to those shares. These gains would have been a lot higher. Yes, my gains are impressive at 62%, but I could have had double the gain amount. So again, if you're going to buy a stock, you have to believe in the stock. You have to believe in the company. You have to be okay with holding during the downturn. And don't sell at the first sign of strength if you still believe in that company. Tesla is a very innovative company. They're making great strides in different areas. I sold based out of emotion again, same reasons as I sold Palantir. I held on to that stock through the downturn. I wish I had that capital to deploy elsewhere. But had I just hung on to the stock, that capital would have given me greater returns than all these other stocks you see that I have bought and hung on to. Google, I bought a little bit, I think around like $100 per share. And then I bought more during the tariff dip. The more, and same with TSM, I bought during the tariff dip in April. Story behind these stocks is it's great to buy when other people are fearful. I think it was Warren Buffett that said that. Sell when people are greedy, buy when people are fearful. I bought these stocks during the tariff dip when everyone was afraid. Technical, they looked great on the chart. I bought at very good timings. I have added to TSM since buying, so that's why the percentage is lower at 43% compared to the 61% of Google. I don't think I've added to Google recently. So great buys. I mean, 61% since April. That's a huge increase. So very good buys. Microsoft, I've bought a long time ago and have held on to. Coinbase, similar story to Palantir and Nvidia. I held through a downturn. I sold some of those shares for a profit. I did actually buy a couple shares this week because I do think Coinbase is getting close to a breakout. But same thing, had I just hung on to those shares, this 41% would be a lot higher. So take homes from this short video, I think it was short, 6 minutes. If you're going to buy a stock, you have high conviction in it, you believe in the company, you believe in what they're doing, you can't be afraid to hold during a downturn. And after that downturn, don't sell at the first sign of strength if the thesis of that company has not changed, if that company is performing well, if the fundamentals look good, if the technical analysis looks good. Don't just sell at the first sign of weakness. The second biggest thing is don't get anchored to a low share cost. If you bought at a great time and you still believe in the company, it is okay to add as the company starts going up. I got super anchored to Nvidia's low share price that I bought at, and I didn't add during great opportunities to add. Had I added this 300%, the total gains would be a lot more. So buy companies you believe in, hang on to them during downturns, don't sell at the first sign of strength, don't get anchored to a low cost. It's okay to add into strength. Those are my tips for today. This is my other portfolio. You guys haven't seen this. As you can see, some really good holdings, some really good gains. I still haven't added to Palantir because it's gone up so much. And the PE on Palantir is like 500 something, but it keeps going up. So I feel like I should just buy a share of Palantir just to thank Palantir for the gains that I've gotten. What do you guys think? I hope this is helpful. I hope you gain some insight from these lessons and can apply them to your own stock purchases. Let's keep growing these portfolios.